All right, folks, listen up. We're diving into the world of telecom stocks today. In the red corner, we've got the heavyweight champ Verizon. In the magenta corner, the scrappy underdog turned contender T-Mobile. These two titans are battling it out for your investment dollars. Now let's get one thing straight. The telecom industry isn't just about making phone calls anymore. We're talking 5G networks, streaming services, and the backbone of our digital lives. Let's get this show on the road. All right, let's start with the big kahuna, Verizon. Verizon's got history. Born from the Bell system breakup in 1984, Verizon has been connecting people for decades. In 2000, Bell Atlantic merged with GTE to form Verizon Communications. Verizon went from being a regional player to a national powerhouse overnight. They've been gobbling up companies left and right. Remember when they bought MCI in 2005? Or how about AOL in 2015? And Yahoo in 2017? Today, Verizon is more than just a phone company, it's a telecom behemoth. They've got over 140 million wireless customers. With a market cap of over $200 billion, Verizon is a force to be reckoned with in the stock market. But is bigger always better? That's what we're here to find out. Stay tuned. Now let's talk about why Verizon is such a powerhouse. First off, their network is like the Rolls-Royce of cellular networks. It's reliable, it's fast, and it's everywhere. They've consistently ranked at the top for network quality. They're leading the charge in 5G technology. 5G isn't just about faster phones, it's about connecting everything. And Verizon is right there at the forefront. Now, let's talk money. Verizon is a cash cow, plain and simple. They've got a solid balance sheet, and they're not afraid to share the wealth with their shareholders. We're talking about a company that's been raising its dividend for 16 consecutive years. And with a dividend yield of around 6%, it's hard to ignore Verizon if you're an income investor. But it's not just about the dividends. Verizon's got a diverse revenue stream. They've got their wireless business, Fios internet and TV services, and digital media properties like Yahoo and AOL. Verizon's playing chess while others are playing checkers. They're thinking long-term, and that's what you want to see in a company you're investing in. Now, don't get me wrong. Verizon isn't all sunshine and roses. They've got their challenges, and we need to talk about them. First up, let's talk about debt. Verizon's got a lot of it. We're talking about over $100 billion in long-term debt. Now, they're managing it, but it's something to keep an eye on. Next, let's talk about competition. The telecom industry isn't getting any easier. T-Mobile's been nipping at Verizon's heels, and they're not the only ones. Cable companies are getting into the wireless game. And let's not forget about the tech giants like Google and Amazon. Verizon's got to stay on its toes if it wants to keep its crown. Then there's the issue of growth. Verizon's a mature company in a mature market. The days of explosive growth are behind them. They've got to find new ways to grow their business. That's why they've been pushing into areas like 5G and digital media. But these new ventures come with their own risks and challenges. Finally, there's the regulatory environment. Telecom companies are heavily regulated. Verizon's got to be nimble and ready to adapt to whatever comes their way. Section 5, T-Mobile, the Un-carrier revolution. All right, folks, now let's shift gears and talk about the Magenta Maverick, T-Mobile. T-Mobile has been shaking things up in the industry, and they're not afraid to ruffle a few feathers. They've branded themselves as the Un-carrier, and boy have they lived up to that name. T-Mobile's story is one of transformation. They started as the underdog, the fourth largest carrier in the US. In 2013, they brought in John Legere as CEO. And that's when things really started to get interesting. Legere was like a rock star in a sea of suit and tie executives. T-Mobile started introducing Un-carrier moves that shook up the industry. They got rid of 2-year contracts and introduced unlimited data plans. But the real game changer came in 2020 when T-Mobile merged with Sprint. Overnight, T-Mobile went from being the scrappy underdog to a major player. Section 6, T-Mobile's winning streak. What's working? Now let's talk about why T-Mobile's been on such a hot streak. Their customer growth has been off the charts. They've been adding customers like it's going out of style. A big part of this growth comes from their aggressive pricing strategy. T-Mobile's plans are often cheaper than the competition. They've positioned themselves as the value player in the market. But it's not just about price. T-Mobile's also been killing it when it comes to 5G. Thanks to their merger with Sprint, They've got a boatload of spectrum. They've been rolling out their 5G network faster than you can say download complete. And let's not forget about their brand. T-Mobile has built a brand that resonates with younger, more tech-savvy consumers. They're not just selling a service, they're selling an attitude. In the stock market, standing out can be very, very good for business. Section 7, T-Mobile's hurdles navigating growth. Now don't go thinking T-Mobile is all rainbows and unicorns. They've got their challenges too. First up, let's talk about integration. Mergers are tricky business. T-Mobile's got to integrate Sprint's operations, network, and customers into their own. There are bound to be some bumps along the way. Then there's the issue of profitability. T-Mobile's been focused on growth, and that's great. But at some point, they need to start turning all that growth into cold, hard cash. Their profit margins aren't as high as Verizon's or AT&T's. The question is, can they keep up the pace and still finish strong? There's also the question of what happens next. T-Mobile's been the disruptor in the industry, but what happens when there's nothing left to disrupt? Finally, there's the competitive landscape. Verizon and AT&T are giants with deep pockets. T-Mobile's got to keep innovating and improving if they want to stay ahead of the pack. Section 8, Stock Showdown. Which is the better buy? Alright folks, we've come to the main event. Verizon versus T-Mobile. Which stock is the better buy? Well, like most things in the stock market, it depends on what you're looking for. Verizon is the steady Eddie of the telecom world. It's a mature company with a strong, established business. If you're looking for stability and income, Verizon might be your pick. That dividend yield is hard to ignore. T-Mobile, on the other hand, is the growth story. They're still in expansion mode, adding customers and building out their network. If you're looking for potential capital appreciation, T-Mobile could be the way to go. But here's the thing. You don't necessarily have to choose. Diversification is the name of the game in investing. There's room for both of these stocks in a well-balanced portfolio. Verizon can provide the steady income, while T-Mobile offers growth potential. At the end of the day, both Verizon and T-Mobile are solid companies in a critical industry. Whether you choose the steady income of Verizon or the growth potential of T-Mobile, you're betting on the future of connectivity.